My name is Zachary as always, and today I am talking about the film I, Robot. This movie came out in the year of 2004 and it stars Will Smith as he plays the character of Detective Spooner. Yes, and did I mention Shia LaBeouf was in this? No, because originally I wasn't going to, but now I am. We get to see Shia LaBeouf in this film for literally maybe at most a minute, 30 seconds to a minute, and he's just he's trying to be that guy, but he's just not that guy, man. He's just not that guy. Anyways, so our character, so he doesn't trust robots, right? If you don't know what the robots are in this film, these are the robots, and the film makes it obvious immediately that the robots are in the robots. This is futuristic. This is a futuristic new world. The robots are just the thing, man. The robots are just them. And something I should this should be a little bit disclaimer before we really dive into this madness, is that this is 2004 and they tried to make a robot type movie, and well, it didn't really work out because of the CGI. This is a little sneak peek for later, by the way. And it's better to worse in some parts. Like there's this one part where they're walking into a warehouse and it looks like half real and half fake. And there's this one wide shot of the city that one building will look obviously fake, and then another building will look real, and then there'll be another building that you can't really tell if it's fake or real, half and half. I don't know, it's odd. They tried doing something that they didn't have the technology to really do. So the person who made these robots, they suspect that he jumped out of a window and fell to his death. But Detective Spooner suspects that it was one of these robotic creatures, CGI creatures. So he's like, nah. So, but we actually do figure out that there is one of these hostile robots. So then there's this scene in a warehouse where Detective Spooner is just going out. He's just running through all these robots, just running through them you know what I'm gonna do? Yes, I'm gonna run through thousands of robots to see which one will tick and which one will try to attack me. So then he eventually finds the hostile robot, and it looks like a giant mix of white and silver, just stretched out and just jumping around like a little gorilla. Bro, it's interesting. We get to see some robo flips and some sick tricks by our stellar robotic friendo. So then Detective Spooner, he's like, so Broham, what's up with what you just now did? Those flips aren't too cool, you know? So then the robot's like, huh, but I have emotions, but I don't understand them, so it's like, ha ha ha. So then it's like a Pixar movie, right? It's an object that has emotions, okay? We got that? So then they're going to decommission this robot, since this seems to be the only one that's going bad. But for real, this is actually this one's actually different. This one is him. These ones, on the other hand, So now, the robots don't really like Will Smith because now they're on to him. Yeah, it's not explained very well in the film. So there's this other scene, right? Where he's in a car and he's going through this tunnel, right? And when he's going through this tunnel, these two metallic blobs, these two metallic blobs, just start screwing up Detective Spooner's thing. and it's like, oh, it's so weird. And then like the metallic blobs change sizes, and Will Smith's car is like a car from like a cartoon because it can like do all these cool things, and like robots start jumping out of these blobs, and like it's the orangutan one, so he starts like shoving them under wheels and like starts shooting at them and stuff. And there's like tons and tons of robots, which eventually leads to this. And somehow these metallic goofy blobs just explode because of his car or a bunch of robots. And then his car just like gets all screwed up, right? And then like his car just crashes because he tries to get the robots off of him. And then he's injured, right? And it's a whole thing, man. But by far, this is my most favorite sequence in the film. By far, it's just too good, man. It's just too good. So yeah. Ooh, but the CGI action sequences aren't done yet because I have something beyond your comprehension, something too ahead of our time. This is when he goes to the inventor of the robots' home. Yeah, the one who died. Yeah, and he's like, But then there's this robot. There's this ginormous robot. It starts absolutely wrecking the house when Detective Spooner starts finding out some interesting things. So it's like, and like this giant robot just starts tearing down the house, like completely. And it's like, but like, why tear down the house? That's so counterintuitive to the robot, because like, it doesn't help him do anything. That doesn't help the robot do anything at all. So yeah, and like during this whole sequence, the pacing is well, how do I put this? The pacing is so serious. The pacing is not serious enough. It's the pacing is interesting. It'll cut to one shot of Will Smith running and stuff blowing up and stuff, and the entire time, the camera will be shaking wildly, and I for real had to look away from the screen and I had to like pause it and look away from the screen for a little bit because I was starting to legitimately get a really bad headache watching this sequence. And I'm just saying, without that shaking of the camera, the sequence would have been amazing. Or not amazing, but it would have been pretty good. And yeah, so Detective Spooner survives. And then he goes out to this warehouse. Oh, you'll never guess what's at this warehouse. More robots. So then, when these robotic things, he figured out they're all bad. Evil robots in a robot movie could not be me. Could not be this movie. Anyhow, so these robots try attacking Detective Spooner, and he's like, nah. So then he escapes on his motorcycle, right? And in the city, there's just randomly a bunch of robots in the street, just like lined up. And the people, like in Shia LaBeouf's character, has like a bat and stuff. He's trying to wreck the robots, which he fails miserably. Kind of like his acting career. Anyways, so there's a sequence, right? And a bunch of robots are in the street, and like Will Smith is trying to defeat them. Will Smith's character is trying to defeat them. It's so goofy. Oh, man, the CGI in this film, I'm sorry, I just gotta take a second for the CGI. Rest in peace, rest in peace, whoever did the CGI for this film. Because like, I feel bad for whoever had to do this CGI, honestly. So then him and the sidekick character, they have to go into this tower, okay? And in this tower, they have to reboot something that's controlling all the robots, like this bad AI. So then a bunch of the robots, they start coming through the ceiling, right? And they're like breaking through and stuff. So then they reboot it after this whole sequence. And so the reason Will Smith doesn't like robots is because one time the car he was in and the car that a child was in, he just fell into a lake. And the robot saved him and not the child. So he's not a big fan of robots. So, but this time, this good robot, the robot that actually has feelings and is good, this robot, he saves both of them. It saves both of them. Like, first it takes her, and then it takes him. It's really nice. So it shows how the AI is able to save both of them. And it kind of gives Detective Spooner some closure. Not directly, but in a good way. So I like how that storyline was kind of closed off. Yeah. So that basically concludes the film. If you all enjoyed this video or any of my other content, please consider subscribing.